So on this one, the triangle, you see it's marked right here. We're going to start by just making a cylinder. So I'm going to do the same thing, making sure this is lined up with this, so I'm nice and parallel. I'm going to touch the back like this, lift up till I'm cutting, plant my feet parallel. Feel it. I still feel bumps, so I'm not round. There we go. All right, so I'm a cylinder. And now what I'm going to do is, I often do this in my work, I use this tool rest as if it was a ruler. So I'm going to identify where my lines come out. Here, 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 here. So those are the points where my lines come out, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to come right up against this. I'm going to put my pencil on that line. I'm not going to let the lathe move. And I'm going to make this mark. Now, I'm not going to do that from back here because I could tip the pencil up and down like this and I won't be on the line. I'm going to try to keep this as close to the actual mark. There's my next mark. As close as I can to that mark so that I know not only is it kind of holding the piece from spinning, but I know that I can't wobble the pencil up and down. Okay, so there's my mark. So both ends are marked, this end and this end. And I'm going to put it on the lathe just like we did before. I'm going to push, I'm going to go to the, stay on the same plane and put the back marks on first. And come in like this. Now this one's going to be a little different than the ellipse in that we want to really keep track of the surface that we're cutting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it. So this is coming to the tool rest. That's going away. All right, this is coming to the tool rest. So I'm just going to put marks like this, and I'm going to be able to see these pencil marks while I'm turning. And as soon as I see the pencil marks start to disappear, I'll know I'm close to the line. Again, I need to double check and make sure that I'm in, and in. Now this one we're going to have to really keep checking because since the more sides we have, the less there is to take off, so the easier it is to also go over our mark. So you can see that I'm this far away and I have more here than here. That's pretty common because you're not necessarily marked exactly right. So I'll just hit one of these lines and I can always come back here and just get as close to these end lines as I can when I turn. Okay, so I've hit that line here, not quite here, but you can see I'm a little bit, I need to even it out in the middle. So I'm not going to touch this end or this end, but on both of these, I'm a little proud here in the center. So I'm just going to take that down. Now I can sand here. I don't like to go like this and sand while it's running because the sandpaper is curved and it takes these corners off. So often on these, especially the triangle, I like to sand this by hand or rasp it to get any of this weirdness off of the surface, so that I maintain a crisp line. So now I'm going to turn it to here, and I'm going to move this one forward. Okay, so I'm going to mark this side so it's coming to me here and going away there. So I need to be from here to here, here to here, here to here. Double check my lock. So you can see I'm close to this line, but I'm going to want to hit this line. Okay, pretty good. So I have a sharp point there. I'll leave this and I'll see if I hit it on the other side. We always have our points. So if we need to go back and hit one of these, we can totally just come back and hit something. But now that I have this like this is a very common kind of a shape for a table leg. So just offset turning two sides, leaving one side curved. So we could have brought these lines back here, and we would have this shape that was two thin slices that came to a point with a curve on the back. So we do not have to be equilateral. We have to know what shape we want and then figure out how to mark it to the shape we want. I'm just doing it equilateral so that you get the gist. Okay, again, we are going to pencil this, and I'm going to stop often and check this. Okay, so I haven't quite hit it, but you can see it's just going to be one light pass. there we go. There's the triangle. Now, we have lots of options, lots of things to think about. I often like this shape for boxes that I make, and let's say I wanted to taper this triangle. You can see what I'd have to do is I'd have to decide where do I want to taper it to, just like when I made my table leg at the beginning here. Same thing, let's just say I wanted to taper it to this, and then I would actually go back to my piece of paper and lay this out, but I just have to move these lines in closer. See, if I would have started with lines in with points in here, then I could have left it proud here and tapered down to there. So I might have to do something like that. If I want to leave it big and then taper down, I can go like that. And so maybe I'll go figure that out and we'll show how to taper, because that's how we make a box. Okay, look what I've done. I just actually went in, I made these new points with my dividers, and I'm going to taper in actually to where my original points were. I just randomly chose that as the place I'm going to taper in, and I just carried the same lines through on the other side. Now we're going to think of this in exactly the same way as when we tapered the cylinder. I'm going to decide where do I want to taper from. So I have to decide where my middle is, because I'm going to taper from the middle, if that's what you want. So I'm going to say 3.5 and 3/16, 3.5 and 3/16. So my middle is right here. So I'm going to taper from this point down. So I'm going to leave it in this same setting, but now I'm just going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to turn the tool rest so that from the inside of the rest to this mark, that the middle of the mark that I'm going to turn, because that's kind of my high point right there, is the same distance as from there to there. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to really keep track of this and just do a couple of little small passes, double check it, and then move my way around. There is, I'm just like one pass shy of hitting this. And now I'll set it to the next point. So I'll just propel this one forward. And it's from the same place. I can see my line right here. So I'm in this same spot over to here. Check often so you don't go way past your points. So I'm just there. Good. Now, I tapered a little. I went too much in like this, so I'm going to even it out a little bit right here. Now, why might that be happening? Oh, I see why that's happening. Look what I've done. I set it at two opposite points and not at the same point forward. Now, this is a good thing to show you. The great thing about the triangle is if you number these 1, 2, 3, and you number the other side one rotation off, 1, 2, 3, and you put them opposite each other, you'll actually get a spiral. I did it by accident, but that's a great thing to know. So I have this one little spot, and I want to even it out. I'm just going to propel it forward how it should have been. Now I do this all the time, and I just mess that up. So you have to be on this all the time, but it's not really messed up because I can just taper it in. Okay, so I don't make that mistake again. I'm going to make sure now and really identify there's that one, there's that one. Pull this forward. My problem is I'm talking and not paying attention here, and you need to always pay attention. Okay, so I have this one last one to do to get to there. And I can tell that my mark is right here that I'm going to. Okay, so there we have this nice little taper. Now I'm already set up right here, and I know I'm exactly halfway, so if I want to, I could just come to this side now and taper it down, taper the whole thing down on this side, and it will give me this kind of protrusion in the center. Usually if you did like 3 cuts, 1, 2, 3, if you count how many you did and you keep the same pressure, you'll find you can just do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you don't have to stop as often. You know you're going to be there if you can keep a consistent pressure. So I knew I was going 1, 2, 3, so. So it looks crazy. But there we go. So that didn't even take very long, and there is a taper. Again, great for a box. You know, box form, which I'm going to be doing a demo on box forms you can do this on for my 3rd rotation. But there you go. We haven't even talked about all the possibilities of what you could do with these techniques. I'm just showing you the basics so that you can go play, because that's how we discover things, by just messing around and playing. But I did want to show you this. We have this geometry, and in order to see this, the line of this, you can see how the grain takes away from it. So often when I'm using these techniques, I try to use a really bland wood or I end up painting it, and that really allows you to see the shadow, which is what allows you to see this line. Now we can cut more geometry into this. I often will do what's called a pommel cut. I like to use this spindle gouge, which I just freehand sharpen. It's extra long bevel so that I can cut in really cleanly. And I'll just cut into this, and a pommel cut is when you're going from any irregular shape to a round shape. So I'm just going to kind of cut in with this, keeping the flute facing that wall. And I'm going to pretend I'm going to make like some kind of little box with this. So I've put this back onto its center points, and I'm back with a cone now so that I'll be able to go right up to that point. And I'm just going to slice in like this. I'll probably start out here and slice in a little at a time, just levering in like this until I get a shape. And I just want to show you the geometry of this. So I've just cut in a little bit, and I'm just making this into, let's just say it was a bottle, but look at this geometry of this. It now allows you to really see this kind of curve coming down. And I'll just cut this, clean this up, cut this however I want, drill a hole down into it, and I'll just make a series of little bottles with that, and they're great with carvings on them. And I make a lot of things this way. How you cut it, just cut it with whatever tool you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with a bowl gouge, you could make that cut right there with a bowl gouge. Doesn't matter. All right, so I'll just clean that up. And I'll just go to the drill press, or I'll drill it right here on the lathe, and there you have a little project. So just playing with this, you're going to be able to use all the parts you play with and cut them out and make little objects and little gift objects. Great for Christmas ornaments, things like that.